And again, be good audience members. Don't forget, you have to have a video person.
Is it going?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you guys can pass this around if you want. And just little quick facts. My name is Preston McLean, and this is childhood obesity. So childhood obesity is classified as having a BMI, which is your body mass index, in the 95th percentile or higher, and that's relative to age and height. So like someone who's 6 foot would obviously weigh more than someone who's 5'10". So they take account of both those things. Okay, when we were collecting our sources and links, we really had to dig deep into our topic, and we're like, look up one thing, and then based off that, do we see now we need more things? And we just kept going and getting more and more links that you find one question and then you find a little information on that, like, ooh, I kind of like that. Let me look more into that. And so I looked up originally like how prevalent is childhood obesity, and then I found information on like causes, and then I found information on possible solutions, and I just kept finding more and more sources, and that's how I accumulated my 10 links. In phase 2, we had an annotated bibliography. The annotated bibliography was a brand new thing to me, so I at first was like, I don't know what's going on, but as I dug more, deeper, I was able to accumulate art, a poem, videos, music, and scholarly websites, just anything that was like credible and that could be trusted. And we had to go through and use the source evaluation matrix to kind of, it's not the perfect credibility meter, but it was able to show like, do we know the author? Do we know how relevant the source is? Like, is it within the last 10 years? Is it within the last like year? Those little things are what makes it credible. And then we had to make a central question, like what are we focusing on? Like, yes, it's childhood obesity, but what is our focus? Like, what are we thinking? Like, this is what we want to find out. And so I want to figure out how prevalent it is in our generation, and then based off that, using who, what, when, where, why, how, can we make other sub-questions that also answer those, our curiosities with childhood obesity and how we can possibly find a solution or a cure. And I used those questions to create a podcast script, and the podcast script was meant to unintentionally answer those questions. Because you don't want to just say, like, here's the question, let me answer it. You want to be, like, kind of implying it, but slowly answering the questions when people aren't noticing, to like sneak in that information. Because you don't want it to seem like this like regurgitated, like, just like, oh, here's this fact, here's this fact, here's this fact. You want to be like it's a podcast, a conversation, even though my podcast is just me talking. We had peer feedback throughout the whole thing. My partner was Lulu, and we just went back and forth, and I listened to her, she listened to mine, and we made little critiques. And we did the same thing with the storyboard. The storyboard was just kind of like, I feel like the storyboard was more tailored towards people who did a visual story, because it had that visual. But I feel like it still helped me when I was doing my my podcast, because I was able to kind of visualize where I wanted, like, the order of my topics. Because like my questions, I was kind of taking them as topics and being like cure versus causes. Those are two different things. But when I looked at the storyboard, I was able to visualize in my head what the best order would be to have it flow. Does it make sense to go straight from cure to solution? You know what I mean? It just like, that helped me like see, even though I'm not having like pictures of my thing, I'm just having audio. It was very helpful to see like the movement and how like the progression of my topics. And then once again, there was peer feedback on that. We traded and we got to look at each other's things, and it was helpful to get some feedback on what we did. And then phase 4 is the flyer I passed around. That's just like some general information, little kind of facts. One of the things on there is about how you'd be surprised that even though, childhood obesity affects a lot of people in America, but the lowest percentage is white and not Hispanic. Where the other, and it's like lower income and just like lower social economic status, those are the people that are having more problems with childhood obesity. And then I have a song. And this song is in my podcast. It is a play on Michael Jackson's song Bad. And it is by Weird Al Yankovic. Alright, so that's just like, it's kind of taking like a nice little like comedic, like lighthearted approach, and just kind of like saying like, this is me, you know, fat, it's alright. Do we have any questions?
So what made you pick childhood obesity specifically?
Okay, so the reason why I chose this is because when I was younger, I was always in like when I went to the doctor, like for my height and age, I was always in the 88th to like high 90th percentile, and it was just kind of like, I almost, like when I was in middle school, I kind of like changed up my diet and like exercise, and I was able to start getting more active and like eat healthier. But when I was really young, like I struggled with that, and like I didn't have enough like focus on, I didn't care about that. You know? I didn't think about it. I wasn't cognitive of like the dangers until like, as I got older, I started realizing, oh my goodness, like this is not good. I need to change something.
Nice.
He's good.
I'm good.